We're back with live pictures of Mar-a-Lago and Palm Beach, the Florida residence of former President Donald Trump. The president believes that today is the day that he could be indicted and arrested for his role in an alleged hush money payment scheme.
Now, despite the former president's claim, CBS News has learned that he may not be indicted today. Still, preparations are well underway to seal off Manhattan criminal courts, protecting those inside from potential protest if and when an arrest does happen.
All right, let's talk more about this because David Weinstein, he's a partner at Jones Walker. He's also a former federal and state prosecutor. David, thanks for being with us this morning. I want to ask you about the unprecedented nature of a possible indictment and really the bar that must be met in order for that to happen.
Well, you're welcome, Betty. Good to join you this morning. Look, the bar is always high in criminal court because it's proof beyond a reasonable doubt. In this particular instance, you're dealing with someone who is the former president of the United States and a position where no one who's been a former president has been indicted or formally charged in a criminal court before. So they need to be prepared. They need to have everything set before they proceed with this criminal case.
Mm-hmm.
So of all the investigations that he faces, does it surprise you that this is the one that could appear to land him in some really hot water?
Well, this one seems to have the least severe charges here and the most novel approach towards seeking a criminal indictment of the former president. So I'm surprised that this case went first, but if they go first and by going first and they're not successful, it will set the pace for the other two investigations that are targeting the former president.
You know, David, this is as much a political issue as it is legal, because if we broaden this out and take a big look at it, arresting former President Trump could only strengthen his base, right, and create a firestorm of protests, which he has already been encouraging. So from a prosecutor standpoint, how heavily does this weigh into a grand jury's decision?
Well, the court of public opinion really doesn't have a seat on the grand jury. The grand jurors hear testimony that's presented by the prosecutor. They consider the evidence that's given by way of testimony, documents, other corroborating information. And so while this political pressure is on the outside of the grand jury room and on the outside of the courthouse, it really doesn't have an effect inside the grand jury room other than to put pressure on the prosecutor who's presenting the evidence to make sure that he's putting all the information in front of this grand jury and is not leaning one way or the other on the scales.
Yeah, all right.
David
Interesting
Weinstein.
stuff. And the timing of all this has got to be questioned as well.
Exactly.
David Weinstein, former federal prosecutor, always great to have your insight. Thank you, sir.